Let's go to the hotline, and let's go to a regional golf tournament to bring in the head coach of the Tahoka Bulldogs. We are joined by Coach Stephen Overstreet. Coach, how are you?
I'm good, Greg. How are you?
All right. First and foremost, coaches fall into two categories when it comes to regional golf tournaments. You either love them or you would rather be almost anywhere else. Where do you fall on this?
Well, here's the thing. I'm also the head golf coach, so I fall in that category. I'm glad to be here, and we've got some kids that are pretty good golfers, so it's been fun.
Let me ask you. You're for those who don't know, Tahoka up there in the Panhandle, a 2A Division II squad. How many golfers are on your golf team?
I've got five. I got a
5.
team of 5, and I had I actually had 6 that played, but you can only take 5 on a team. So I got a 5. We won our district
Nice.
golf championship and had the first place individual. So, and my top individual was sitting 3rd overall after the first day yesterday. So he's kind of struggled a little bit on the front side today, but he just made the turn right before you guys called me. So give me a little break from him and him from me, and hopefully we go attack that backside and we can try to get him down to Austin.
Good. Well, this is a golf podcast, so I'm glad that we're talking about this. That it brings up an interesting point. You are, and I think you have to do this at a school the size of Tahoka, but you wear a lot of hats. You originally came to Tahoka as the baseball coach.
I did.
You take on the football responsibilities a couple of years ago. Part of the deal, unfortunately for you, was having to give up the baseball gig. I'm interested, looking back now, your feelings on leaving behind the diamond for the gridiron.
Well, I've always been. I spent the majority of my career as a football coach. I spent a lot of my time early in my career as a defensive coordinator. And the opportunity to come to Tahoka presented itself. I'd also served as an assistant baseball coach in the early part of my career, and that opportunity presented itself. And it was an opportunity for me to move over and be a head coach and gain that experience. And the guy that I worked for at the time told me I'd have been crazy if I had turned it down. So I took it and, spent a year as the head baseball coach and just an assistant football coach. And then we had a coaching change, and the guy that came in promoted me to defensive coordinator, and I stayed the head baseball coach. So I did that for, I guess, 3 years. And then last year, that gentleman moved on, and I was very blessed and fortunate to be given the title of head football coach and athletic director. And I continued last year to be the baseball coach as well. And like you're talking about, in a small school, I wear a lot of hats, and a lot of my hats that I wear are, going and supporting our kids wherever they're at. So I put a lot of miles on the school Suburban last year, and I had to give up the diamond, but I'm honestly, I love it. I've got a great baseball coach that replaced me, and they've done a good job. They upgraded, or should I say, I upgraded in that position. But no, I'm excited, and my heart and soul's always been in football. I love baseball, but my passion's always been in football. So I'm happy to be there.
Well, and speaking of which, football took a step forward there in your second year. You guys go 4-1 in district, a 6-5 record overall. But most striking to us, at least. I don't know if you know this, but you guys were the 3rd most improved offense in the state at any level last year. You guys go, I believe, 17.6 points per game in 2017 to nearly 45 a game in 2018. To what do you attribute that kind of jump, that kind of improvement?
Total buy-in finally by our kids.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do anything offensively last year that we didn't do in my first year in Tahoka. I have a phenomenal offensive coordinator, a guy that when he came in to interview, he absolutely blew me away. Being a defensive guy, somebody that comes in and talks about hanging their hat on running the football and, controlling the clock definitely perks my ears up a little bit. I know it makes a lot of people happy to see the flash and the sideline to sideline spread, but as a defensive coach, when I can see controlling the football and running the football and the clock ticking down where I don't have to play near as many snaps, that makes me excited. And, Coach Gorman came in and I hired him as my offensive coordinator, and he fit that mold to a T. So, our kids just bought into it. It was the second year in the same offensive system. They were all juniors last year. We're going to have, 10 offensive and 9 defensive starters coming back this next year, and they'll all be seniors. So they've all played, unfortunately. I say unfortunately, but also now fortunately, they've had to play since they were freshmen. So it's been a good thing for us and a good thing for our community.
We're talking with Stephen Overstreet, the head coach of the Tahoka Bulldogs here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag TF Today. Coach, you bring up how young you guys were last year. This was a remarkably young squad. You guys only graduated 6 lettermen from last year's squad. Was there a feeling at any point during the year last year that hey, 2018's going pretty well, but 2019 really could be something special?
Yeah, I mean, it started out, and, we had 2 really big wins early in the season. We put up 62 and 63 points a game against Plains and Roosevelt there early, and I felt like we had really kind of gotten the ball rolling. Felt like it was going to be a fun and productive year. I know when people looked at our schedule last year, they probably thought I was absolutely crazy. I picked up the likes of Brownfield, Littlefield, and I kept Sundown on there. But I did that because I felt like our kids needed to be battle tested. You look up and you look at our bye district and you're staring at the likes of Groover and Stratford and Clarendon and Vega and those guys. If you don't play a competitive non-district schedule, a tough district schedule, when you get into the playoffs, that first round is going to be a gauntlet. So I felt like it was going to be good for us. Our kids responded extremely well. Both of those games, Littlefield and Brownfield are both 3A schools, obviously larger than what we are, and we held our own. And we had an opportunity to win both of those ball games late in the game. And I was super excited. And, yeah, looking up at 2019 with what we've got coming back, in the positions that we've got them coming back in, it's super exciting. This group was 6th graders that'll be seniors this next year. We're 6th graders when I got to Tahoka, and I had them in pre-athletics, and we were outside doing drills and all kinds of things when they were 6th graders. So yeah, it's definitely a bittersweet moment for me that they're growing up and they've become great young men. But it'll also be a very sad and bittersweet moment when that final horn sounds, hopefully late there in the playoffs, because I'll have to tell those guys goodbye, but also have to tell them thank you for the foundation that they've built for our Bulldog family as we move forward.
It's good times there in Tahoka, and one of the guys who I know that you're really excited about is Malik Hamilton. I want to say this in a nice way. I don't think he's going to scare anybody walking off the bus. In Malik Hamilton, he's not exactly the biggest guy, just clocking in at 5'8", 155 pounds. But boy, this kid is really special. Does a lot for your ball club. You're the guy who's around him the most. You get to see him in practice, see him in the weight room. What is it about Malik Hamilton that makes him so special?
Well, the biggest thing about Malik Hamilton in the last couple of years is the kid finally grew up and matured and has kind of lived up to the potential that we all saw that he had from an early age. You're right. He's not one of those guys that's going to wow you when he gets off the bus. But he's definitely a guy, when you get up close to him, he's a very thick and solid 155. He likes to run the football between the tackles. He's not gonna, I guess, outrun you per se. But I guess if you can kind of relate it to this, and I think people understand what I'm talking about, he's got good football speed. He's a 100, 200 guy for us on the track. I kind of suckered him into running the quarter earlier in the year, and I've been telling him for a few years, man, you need to run the quarter. You need to run the quarter. And he got out there and run the quarter, and it was probably the worst thing I've ever seen. The kid competed his butt off, but he came off the track, and I said, I owe you an apology. And he said, why? I said, because you are right. You are not a quarter-mile guy. So, he's a 100, 200 guy, and I think he's probably as fast on the track as he is in full pads, even running those events. So he's just a kid that's got, he's kind of got the it factor for us. He's a hard-working kid, a grinding kid, a kid that's bought into what we're trying to do. And I've been super proud of him. He rushed for a little over 1,000 yards his sophomore year in kind of a fill-in role for his older brother, who was a senior that broke his collarbone in our first scrimmage. And, he for all classifications up here on the South Plains during the regular season, he was the leading rusher. And, there were quite a few ball games that we took him out early. to make sure we didn't get him hurt. So just a kid I'm phenomenally excited about, a kid that I really think, can go play football at the next level. I think he's definitely somebody that, somebody could take a chance on. He's not going to be a running back at the next level, just surely by his size. But, if he did go to a team that was kind of a spread team, his grit and tenacity, he reminds me a lot of like a Wes Welker, Eric Morris, Danny Amendola kind of guy that I think could play in the slot, catch the football, and make a hand for somebody at the next level. And he's also our middle linebacker, so he's not afraid to put his nose in there and go make plays.
Finally, Coach, I want to ask you a little bit about your district there, District 4 2A Division 2. Seems like, from the outside looking in, it seems like it's y'all and Rawls. You guys played a war again last year, and Rawls ended up coming out victorious. Ended up being the decisive game in that district. But a couple teams on the rise there. I think that you look at a team like Smyer and like Lockney could be teams that are improving as years go on. I'm interested from your perspective when you take a look at your district. What are you looking at for 2019?
Well, I'm going to look up and I'm going to see two new faces. Newhome's going to have a brand new coach this next year, so not exactly sure what we're going to see offensively and defensively. And Smyer's going to be in the same boat. Two new head coaches are going to join this district. And definitely a district I felt like even last year was a competitive district. Also Lockney in there. Coach Ward does a great job up at Lockney, a game that, we kind of struggled in the second quarter a little bit. We found a way to win, but if we hadn't had the lead that we had kind of when we hit that rough patch, they kind of capitalized and did some things, but we were able to seal the deal and close out the ball game. And then of course Rawls is back again. They've got Jerry Flores in the backfield, a kid that I've got a lot of respect for, a kid especially as a defensive guy that keeps me up. Definitely that Saturday through Friday night of the following week. Just a good, solid kid. They had good undersized linemen, but they got after you and were physical. So, I think it's going to be a district again. I tell our kids all the time, you can't ever take a break or sleep on anybody at any given time. If we, unfortunately, and I don't mean this to sound rude, but if we listen to, the guys that think they're experts, we would never play the game. And, that's why we come out every Friday night and we tell them one game at a time, one play at a time. And they've bought into that, and in our district's that way. Anybody can be beat, and I'm excited about it. I'm pumped about 2019. I appreciate you calling me and talking to me because it's really the first time I've got an opportunity to talk about it. So thank you for making my wife annoyed because now I'm going to be talking football till August.
Well, good. That's happy. But I have to agree with something you said. Absolutely don't listen to us. Do not listen to experts. That's we are guessing just as much as anybody else. He's Stephen Overstreet. Please apologize to your wife for us. He's the head coach of the Tahoka Bulldogs. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on a very solid 2018 season. Best of luck at this regional golf tournament.
Hey, Greg, I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys, and I do mean this in all sincerity. Thank you guys for what you do for us as small school guys and the publicity that you give for our kids. It's a great thing. The magazine is phenomenal. Everything that you guys do, we truly appreciate it, and we thank you for taking the time out to visit with us and give our kids a little love, and hopefully we can make you guys proud and everybody proud in 2019.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Coach.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. There
you go. Stephen Overstreet, the head coach of the Tahoka Bulldogs. Got to get back on that back nine. Got to rally. Got to rally there on the back nine. But that's true, and I'm glad that he's the head football coach because we all know this. When we talk with coaches this time of year, there are guys who regional golf rolls around. They go, yes, all right, cool. Like golf. I'm excited for this. And then there are guys who all they're doing is they're looking at their watch and waiting for fall to roll around. So I'm glad they've got they're
scheduling interviews with Texas football today.
Exactly. Like, yeah, sure. I guess I'll talk to those jokers. That's fine. So appreciate Coach Stephen Overstreet. Big things popping there in Tahoka, and I know that there's obviously Groover lurks in that district or up there. Stratford as well is going to be pretty darn good. You include a team like Wink in there, but. I don't know. Tahoka's got a ton coming back. They were super duper young.
Really good Tahoka team.
I think they bowed out about a round too early when they lost to kind of an upstart Vega last year in the first round. But I think Tahoka's got something cooking. So we appreciate Coach Stephen Overstreet hopping on with us. Now we go to Max Thompson. A happier Max Thompson
Well, I mean, the show's not burning down anymore, which it was at the
For
beginning.
America's second favorite segment, Final Thoughts.
Yeah. Lots of good thoughts today, though. From Will Boyles, our man who's been on the show a few days in a row now. Coach Overstreet is a super guy beyond what he is as a coach. He's an even better mentor. And, man, glad to have him out here on the South Plains. Just need him to move up to Lubbock.
Well, he's an Abernathy guy. He's from that part of the world. So he's home there in Tahoka. But, yeah, it's exciting there. And at the 2A Division II level, when you've got something like 21 lettermen coming back, I mean that's huge for them.
Yeah.
I'm expecting big things.